So guys, here's another video of the pond. Just a quick shout out for Martin Koi Pond and Garden. So his suggestion of putting some silicone underneath those pergola Japanese ornaments was spot on. He suggested it, and that's what we did. So let me just show you. Going over here, I basically smeared some silicone, put it on some grease-proof paper, and squished it down. And as you can see there, hopefully you can see that, we've got silicone underneath. So if I just put this down on here, like so, because it's silicone and it's rubberized, look, I'm pushing it and nothing's happening, so it's staying in place. So thank you for that, Martin. It was a perfect suggestion, and it's in effect like having a sheet of rubber underneath them, and hopefully they'll stay in place even when it's windy. I have put some gravel in them, by the way, probably about a kilo worth of gravel, just enough to keep them down, and they're a nice little feature. I ordered the spillway to be a bit wider, so essentially that's how it's going to go on. And then obviously it should fit nicely underneath, and then we'll screw that in, try and get it as level as possible, and then all I've got to do is get the liner and glue it onto the spillway, essentially, and then that's essentially how it should work. I've just got to go and get some screws so we can fit this on, and then hopefully it will be level. What I will say is, when I tried to pull this up off the wooden spillway, I used some of that industrial rubber sealer that is like an adhesive, Arbo sealer I think it's called, and I had a hard job pulling it up, and it's also pulled up some of the plywood strands, as you can see there, but essentially I want to see if we can get this to be quite level, so because that's what's been suggested. So we need that to be level, and if there's some slight adjustments I might need to make. Right guys, I've just got rid of much of the sawdust that was on there after I cut it, the first bit, and then obviously I took it off and cut it properly. Cleaned the liner down as much as I can with a bit of sponge. I've also turned on the air. It's a 20-watt air pump that I've got here, Pond 1 air pump. If you're wondering what's the best way of cleaning your retro bottom drain, is you just use a mop. You don't need to pull your retro bottom drain out, just get a mop out and give it a bit of a wipe down with that, and that's how I cleaned the air pump, basically. The retro bottom drain, aerated bottom drain, cleaned it out down there with a mop, and Bob's your uncle, it's up and running properly, because I had a small amount coming out for some reason. Obviously, as I think it's Lou from the French Connection, she's got a similar retro bottom drain, but she pulls it out and just, you know, blasts it with a power wash. I just got a mop and cleaned it with the mop, and now it's back to normal. So there's a tip for you, Lou, if you're watching this video. Get a mop and just give it a wipe over. You don't need to get a power wash out. The spillway, the stainless steel one, I've just been over to B&Q and got myself some of these flathead screws. Now they're stainless steel, so they should not rust. They're 19mm long, because the problem is, what I don't want to do is go through that wood into the liner. So I need to make sure it's not too long, and I don't think it will be too long. As you can see, it's not too long, and obviously I've got 5mm distance on the actual spillway as well, because it's 5mm thick steel. You need to take that into account with your calculations. So it's only going to go through probably about that much probably. So if we said 15mm, something like that, into the wood, and this wood is 22mm thick, so we should be alright there. You know, I want to get this done as quickly as possible, but if you do pre-drill and you do something like this, guys, you need to be really careful about how far you pre-drill into the wood, because you don't want to go through the liner. So the best thing to do really is get a piece of electrician tape, put it on your drill bit, and then you know where as much as you can go in by. So obviously this is a spillway, guys. This is the stainless steel screw, so it'll just go on there like so. And as you can see, it reduces because of the thickness of the metal. Hopefully you can see that there. Because of the thickness of the metal, it's about 5mm. So out of that 19mm, obviously we're getting 14mm. But that's actually going into wood. If I just get a sample. Right, so obviously that's the spillway there, and I've got a piece of wood here to simulate how far it's going to go in. So if we just put that on top like so, as you can see there, we're sort of figuring how much the actual wood's going to go through, and we've got a good 4mm, because what I don't want to do is go all the way in and puncture the liner. So as you can see, that gives you a rough idea how far I'm going into the wood. You've always got to be really mindful if you're going to do anything with your liner or near your liner. See if we can screw that back in. Okay. What I've been doing is just making it nice and tight by hand with a hand screwdriver, just to make sure it stays in place, because what I want to do is make sure it's level, because obviously Martin from the Koi Pond and Garden YouTube channel, he said I need to make sure it's level, so just need to make sure it's the right level. There you go, nice and level. And then I'll pre-drill the other side and do this all over again. So we've done those two screws there, done the one underneath there. So I've done them two there as well. But as I've said, you have to be really, really careful and make sure, double check, triple check, quadruple check, so you don't go through that liner. That liner is incredibly important. The last thing you want to do is puncture it, because then all this would have to come out and I'd have to find the leak and silicone it. So be careful, guys, around liner. Anyway, believe it or not though, liner is incredibly strong and hard to puncture in any case, but you don't want to put a screw through it. So as you can see, we've got our spirit level there. Let's just see how level is it. Right, it's actually pretty level actually. So I've got my roller here. It's got a bit of a rubber feel texture to the roller, and all I'm going to do over there, you can see, is put the silicone on and roll it, so that obviously that liner will go over the the plywood and also onto the stainless steel, because we need to seal basically the whole thing so it's watertight. So I've got the washing up liquid here, which put a lot of washing up liquid on my hands, and we just literally do this just to smooth it. Would appreciate it, guys, if you could let me in the comments if you think there was anything I could do better to make it better. I would appreciate it. So I just hope I've given it a good covering, really, that's all. Just to make sure we've got a good covering. Okay. Just want to make sure it's a good covering on there. To Blades Arrows, just a big thank you. I got the impression he probably gave me a discount because of the video that I'm doing. So I do a video for him, so I think that's why he only charged me £55 for this. But yeah, I just wanna. We need to get rid of some of this silicone. So if you want my advice when you're doing silicone, don't put down washing up liquid straight away. Let it adhere to your surface, and then you can put some on the top to eat away at it if you want to get rid of some of it, like I'm doing here. Just try to make sure it's sort of neat and tidy. So I've got this sponge here which soaked in the stuff. You just do that. And then so the screws are in underneath, as you can see. Siliconed it all the way around. So we siliconed it against the metal as well. I know it don't look pretty, but it should be alright. I'd rather have too much than too little on it. And then basically the water will cascade off the blade. It's nice and level. So I thought I'd just show you how level it is. There you go, that's how level it is. It's not too fantastic that way, but it should be alright. And that's more or less how it's looking. So, let me just zoom in there so you can see closer up with the light on. And that's the spillway as it stands. I just hope it does a good job, but I suppose it isn't that pleasing to look at if you look at it like this, but I think we have disguised it with a bit of gravel and some stone, flat stone. It'd be barely noticeable. Anyway, hope this installment was informative. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to test the spillway now, and let's see how it runs. And there you go, that's the spillway finished, completed. And we may put some things on top to disguise the liner, but apart from that, I'd say that's a nice spillway. Let me know in the comments what you think. And here's a thumbs up to Blaze R Us for providing this. Thank you. And it seems to do a good job. Is it a bit quieter? I'd say it's about maybe 10 to 20% quieter, maybe. But you be the judge. Right guys, I thought I'd just give you a brief tour of the pond. So I'm just going to show you the sail. Definitely a good idea to shade this area in this heat. It's incredibly warm today. Obviously we've got the floating basket in there, the two mini Japanese pagodas, obviously the duck ornament thing from a water feature I had, and obviously the new stainless steel spillway by Spillway R Us. So let's just have a look in more detail, closer up. You've already seen this, but I've given the filter a bit of a clean so it looks a bit nicer. Obviously that's spillway. Does seem a little bit quieter than it was, and that was the main aim, just to make it a little bit quieter. And there you go. So guys, hope that was informative, seeing me do that. Hopefully it didn't go on for too long, this video. Yeah, and I've just got to give it 24 hours to cure, and then we'll be able to test it out with some water, and hopefully I'll have no leaks. Yeah, it's taken me a whole day to do this, a lot longer than anticipated. But as always guys, subscribe to the channel, like the video if this sort of helped you out, and to the person that recently recommended that I sort out something to do with the waterfall because the noise was too much, you're right. Should have used a microphone so you can hear me rather than the water. I had a microphone on this camera at one point, but it started going funny, so I'll have to get a new one. Anyway, thanks for watching, have a nice day, and I hope the weather is conducive for you doing what you need to do. Thank you, bye bye.